Understanding the concept of memory palaces. A memory palace, also known as the method of loci, is a mnemonic device that leverages spatial memory to improve recall. This technique involves visualizing a familiar place, like a house or building, and associating each room or location within it with information you want to remember. This approach taps into the brain's natural ability to recall visual and spatial information. How memory palaces work with visualization. When creating a memory palace, you mentally place specific pieces of information in various locations within your chosen space. By visualizing each room or area vividly and associating it with a piece of information, you make it easier for your brain to retrieve these details later. The more detailed and imaginative the visualization, the more effective the memory palace becomes. Engaging multiple senses for stronger recall. Memory palaces work by engaging multiple senses through imagination, such as sight, sound, or even smell. For example, if you associate a historical date with a certain room, you might picture a clock ticking loudly or even imagine the smell of old books. These sensory details create a richer memory trace, making the information more memorable and easier to retrieve. Organizing information in a logical sequence. Memory palaces allow for a structured approach to information. By placing information in a specific sequence within the palace, you can create a logical flow, aiding recall. This organization is particularly useful for remembering complex sequences, like steps in a process, speeches, or lists of items, as the spatial arrangement provides a natural order. Utilizing familiar locations for comfort and recall. One key to a successful memory palace is choosing a location you know well, like your home or a favorite place. Familiarity with the space makes it easier to mentally walk through it, reducing cognitive load. Because you're comfortable with the environment, the brain is more likely to remember where you placed specific pieces of information. Repetition and practice to strengthen memory palaces. Regular practice helps solidify information stored in a memory palace. Revisiting the palace in your mind and reinforcing the associations can strengthen your recall over time. With practice, memory palace users find it easier to retrieve information quickly, as frequent mental visits reinforce the memory pathways established. Benefits for long-term retention. Memory palaces are effective for both short-term and long-term memory retention. By using vivid associations and sensory details, the brain stores information in a way that makes it resistant to forgetting. This technique is particularly beneficial for subjects that require deep memorization, such as languages, speeches, or scientific data. Helping with focus and concentration. Creating a memory palace requires focused attention, which strengthens concentration. This intense focus during the encoding process ensures that the information is stored more effectively. Over time, using memory palaces can improve overall concentration and make it easier to stay attentive when processing new information. Popularity of memory palaces among memory champions. Memory champions often use memory palaces to memorize vast amounts of information, such as numbers, names, or sequences. Their success showcases the power of this technique and serves as evidence of its effectiveness. These champions prove that with practice, anyone can significantly improve their recall using this method. Applying memory palaces in everyday life. Memory palaces are not just for competitions. They can be applied in everyday situations, like remembering shopping lists, learning new subjects, or preparing for exams. By creating vivid associations in a familiar mental space, people can access information whenever needed, making memory palaces a practical tool for enhancing daily recall.